Hello again traders, Andrew Curry here. I've been quiet over January, haven't been posting anything because I've actually been ill with pneumonia. But I'm fully recovered now, but as you can hear, my voice is still very croaky. So you just have to bear with me, I'm afraid. But this morning, here we are at the beginning of February, 3rd of February, and President Trump has announced more tariffs.
Will definitely happen with the European Union. I can tell you that. UK is out of line, but I'm sure I think that one can be worked out.
So you can see this has had quite an effect. This large bearish candle here is the opening candle for the Euro USD from Sunday night from our point of view, 10 o'clock at night through until 2 in the morning. And there's a drop of 120 pips roughly. A significant drop. We're seeing this across several currencies. President Trump says that Britain may escape some of the tariffs, but we're still seeing a drop on the pound here. This same candle. Here we go, the opening candle. We see a drop of, from close to close, of 100 pips. So even though Britain may escape his tariffs, we're still seeing the effects. We can see it on other currencies here. This is the US dollar against the Canadian dollar. Again, big candle here, quite a significant movement of close to close. 220 pips roughly. Quite a significant problem with the Canadian dollar. Of course, I've said this before. This leaves you thinking, well, what's happening here with this currency and that currency and so on? How's this affecting? How do I trade this? Well, no. My opinion on this, my take on this is stick to the technical analysis. Okay, see what the technicals are telling us and continue to trade as normal, as in from what the technicals are telling us. As a lone retail trader, it would be very difficult to have enough accurate information to trade news and fundamentals. Just as an example of this, while I was out of commission in January, a similar sort of thing happened to the Great British Pound first week in January. So if I look at this other monitor here, this is BBC News from the beginning of January. It's updated 9th of January, so really the first week in January they released. Pound falls to lowest in over a year after UK borrowing costs rise. Okay, so let's look at the Great British Pound US dollar. This yellow box here is roughly the period they're talking about. And yes, pound fell against the US dollar. But pound fell, let's just scroll back. If we go back here, we can see the pound was much lower than the supposed drop price. And this was only October 2023. Now, pound dropped, yes it did, in this case relative to the US dollar, but they didn't shout about how it retraced and more or less recovered in the period afterwards, throughout the rest of January. So some of this information, whilst it's accurate, is politically biased and is trying to make a point about the current UK Labour government. Now, it's not to say, we get exactly the same thing when the Conservative Party is in power. Their political opponents want to attack them with pound falls, etc., etc. It happens from both sides. If we look again at this, pound falls to lowest in over a year. The pound fell by 0.9% against the dollar on Thursday, while borrowing costs jumped earlier in the day but calmed mid-afternoon. Sterling typically rises when borrowing costs increase, but economists said wider concerns about the strength of the UK economy had driven it lower. So they are spelling it out for you there. But wider concerns about the strength of the UK economy had driven it lower. In other words, other factors has meant that it has not done what it usually does. Many, many factors affect a currency price relative to another currency. So this one factor, which usually has this effect, has not had this effect because of other effects have pushed the pound down. How much information would you need to accurately predict the currency every time based on fundamental analysis? A lot. It is much, much more realistic to trade technical analysis. Stick with your technical analysis. Don't be sidetracked by fundamental news.